they have their service in the north, but in the south there is not pretty much any service. And then Verizon, red is 4G LTE, the light red or maroon would be 3G, and the white and black areas are either no service or roaming. As you can see throughout the three different major providers that most people have, there's definitely enough coverage. If there is, for our app, there's enough coverage that people can use data. Of course, we'd have to field test it to see how much data it uses before being able to put that into a paper or research exactly. As I just mentioned, there is enough cell phone data to be used in rural areas for the application to be used properly. It's assumed that most volunteer firefighters who would be coming out to the rain entrapment calls will have at least a mix of the three different providers, so at least one should be able to pull out the app problem. And as you saw for the last slide, there has been stronger signal in the north. And although this app is, we're hoping to just get started in Indiana, we're hoping to be able to spread it to other states, and that's why I put a picture of the United States up. That's AT&T. As you can see, the Midwest is mostly covered for the most part, but when you get up to the West, that's when it gets much more difficult for using apps for emergency management.
Okay, so finally down to our app. We took a lot of stuff from the Illinois Grain Rescue Tube Locator, kind of took what we liked and then left out what we didn't like in our idea. So the Illinois app had a 911 distress feature that was constantly at the top of the app the whole time. And all you have to do is just hit the button and your phone will immediately dial 911. So that would definitely be a thing we would have in our application. Have GPS location services. But the two main things would be having a map of Indiana with all of the grain bin storage locations throughout the state, and then a grain rescue tube locator. So we would have kind of like on the screen a button that you would hit and it would pull a map of Indiana, kind of like if you think about Google Maps, when you search something it has pinpoints. So our idea would be to have pinpoints of all the grain bins, and then it would show the actual location, because not all grain bins are technically right next to the address for the house, you know how big the farm is. And we'd have kind of a quick search feature that you can enter the zip code or address, and it will bring in a zoomed in portion of the map to show you exactly where on the property the grain bin would be located at. And then kind of the same idea for the grain rescue tube locator. We try to have a list of all of the locations where one of the tubes is located. And then same idea with the quick search. You enter the address or zip code, and in order from closest to you would bring up the location where the tube is located at. So for pilot testing, we would try to do a tabletop exercise with Purdue Grain Safety Team and then select fire and rescue personnel. And it would allow for feedback and suggestions as what they would like to see or have changed on the application. And once that's complete, make the changes and then have it available for everyone. But our end goals would be to provide an efficient application for locating grain rescue equipment throughout the state of Indiana. We'd want it to be user-friendly and easy to use. The Illinois app, it was difficult to try to use. It froze up all the time, it crashed. It was hard to follow, and it just wasn't very reliable. And then eventually have all emergency personnel using the application in response to grain issues. See the design for this app be used in other states. Try to come out with like monthly updates to keep the app up to date, and then have it available and for free on the different app stores. And any questions?
I would add your data from NPR is grossly underreported. They only include in their data where OSHA cited somebody.
Okay.
So you only had 7 cases. There's over 100 cases.
Okay.
And OSHA doesn't cite farms. So
Okay.
most of these occur on farms. So if you were to do a map again, then I think your case would be much stronger if you used where people actually died, not where just OSHA cited.
Okay.
Is there any concern on the farmer's part in terms of having people know where they've stored grain? Is that a security issue?
I would think it would be. I know personally I don't like my cell phone to be tracking me all the time, so I mean, it would kind of, I guess, have to be all volunteer based. You would somehow get it out to the farmers and see if they want to like sign up for this kind of feature thing. But I imagine that there would be, especially I would in the like Amish communities. Well, I guess they wouldn't have it there, but I mean, a lot of people I think get really up in arms about the security and.
Would your app be a paid app or?
No, it would be like the end goal says, have it available for free,
Okay.
especially if it's for something like emergency response.
Right. And how are you gonna fund it?
Well, obviously, you have to find governments or different state governments, federal government. Maybe I'm sure there's a lot of grain, or not grain, agricultural associations out there that might be able to help us fund it, or just find an entrepreneur that might like to help this and maybe make a profit down the road.
How much funding would you seek?
Right now, since it's mostly to be small starting, we need to just see, we didn't really have it, since this was just a theory, we didn't reach out to any programmers yet, but from what I understand, apps, anyone can make maps, so we were right now funding maybe for start of this, a few $1,000 and go from there, get an initial beta test out there, see how people like it, and if you need more money, ask for grants, apply for grants, scholarships, things like that.
Yeah, just a question. You mentioned the Illinois one had like an emergency button feature on it.
Yeah.
Is that basically is that a phone call? Like when you hit it, does it start
Yeah,
calling
you hit the button and it'll just start like a phone call.
out? Okay. I was just wondered if it was like easily accidentally hit.
Yeah, no, it is kind of. I was messing around with it and hit it, but I mean, I immediately was able to hit end call. But I think in an emergency situation, for whatever reason, you have that app pulled up, you can easily hit it instead of going out of it and going to your phone and trying to type in 911.
So it's no different than hitting 911. Like it doesn't use any sort of. It's not alerting some different person or location.
No, I mean, we talked about it, like the paper, if there was somehow, because you know, like dispatches are starting to receive text. If within that app, if there was, we kind of just talked about if there was a way to, through that app, if it was hit, if it would send an alert to kind of like whatever dispatch is closest to you and kind of let them already be aware of what the situation is for that. But
Okay, I think we need to transition to the next team.
Don't close it, please.
no,
We'll make
Yeah.
sure we get it shut down.
PowerPoint. Sorry.
How many groups are going on?
I was
Does anybody else need an eval form? I have mine up back here.
Guys, what do you think? Do you want to do it in a shorter amount of time, or do you want to delay it until Thursday? You need more time, or you don't? Huddle quickly and let us know what you'd like to do.
You guys look nice today.
So each one of these is
Jake, you need your-
so like each category is
10 minutes.
We're gonna have to go on Thursday. We have a lot of information to go over, and we don't.
So do it on Thursday?
Yes, please.
Okay, groups on Thursday, 20 minutes max, no more.
Sorry,
So you guys are up first on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Well,
Just
that
have your
gives us
stuff
some
fired
time
up,
for
ready to
questions.
go, and
We can do that. We can be here early.
Always let people groups on over to set up and
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
Well, give like 10 minutes.
you can help them on Thursday. Just get your stuff fired up.
The first group will start and ready to go.
Okay, anybody have questions about the scoring?
No, he meant like,
And then minus.
One other thing is I think we saw, you know, for those of you who didn't present, we saw several folks that were dressed, I think, appropriately, kind of, you know, you look like you're kind of dressed like the faculty. You guys are right in the curve, okay? So, you know, kudos to you guys who did that. Any questions about anything else from today? Dr. Olten, Dr. Field?
Maybe, I don't know, you said that for the final test, you take home and we were going to have like a review or something, but I guess that we are not gonna be able to have it because last classes
A
on.
review?
I mean, I remember that you mentioned something like a review, don't worry for the test and things like that, you said.
I probably said don't worry. I don't think we promised a review, but
The test is a take-home open book, open note, just not collaboration among students. So you can use material on the website, you can, on Blackboard, you can use.
anything but phone a friend. Okay?
Text or ask the audience.
Text a friend, that's out too.
Text a friend, yeah.